Welcome to the night zone. Hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the wave. Politics and prayers, ain't no subject we shun. Keep it real, keep it raw.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Guys Night Podcast, episode 24, quarter way to the century mark. Tonight, we're honored to have Luke Morgan join us, coming from Indiana. Luke and I came across each other on a Facebook group. He had some interesting things that I wanted to hear about, so he was willing to make the drive out here, and we're happy to have him. So welcome aboard, Luke.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Here.
And Evan, how you doing tonight?
Great. Little sore from the gym this morning, but great.
It was worth it, though, huh?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And David, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. All right. Hey, before we get into learning about Luke, just wanted to remind everybody, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate any love that we can get. We appreciate any feedback that we can get. Good, bad, the ugly. We read all the comments. And on top of that, if you are interested in being a guest, either DM us on any of our social media, Guys Night Podcast, or there's a website, guysnight.com. Support@guysnight.com is our email address. And if you're looking for some awesome stuff as far as merch gear, the Guys Night store is open for business. Definitely should take a look at some of the stuff that's on there. I'll put a link in the description. But last final thing I wanted to touch on too is February 22nd. We are going to be doing a live show interview with Center Stage Aesthetics out of Cleveland. They work out of the old school Iron Gym, and they're going to be doing a posing clinic. So for any of our followers that watch us on workouts or at the warehouse, or follow Nick or Dahan or any of those, we're excited to be able to sit there, interview Dahan, Mike, and any of the other bodybuilders that are in the vicinity that want to be part of the show. It's a great time to ask questions, and we'll try and get some contact and see how they're doing it and stuff like that. So people that are tuning in will be able to catch some of the instruction and see what these guys go to get prepared for a show. So make sure you tune into that. With that, we'll get the show started. Hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day, and we'll go from there. Luke, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
4.5 hour drive. We appreciate you making it out.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
It wasn't too bad.
Evan would have needed like 4 naps.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just sleeping the whole time. You would have been.
Yeah. I used to drive for a living for FedEx.
Oh,
so,
okay, gotcha.
10, 12 hours driving a truck all day. You learn how to stay awake behind the wheel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You ain't kidding, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It was actually one of my favorite jobs I've ever had, actually, driving FedEx.
Yeah.
I did it in Carmel, which is like, Indy area. And I delivered to all the brand new, really nice, $1 million houses all the time. So I was delivering like 150-pound, tables and chairs and couches.
yeah.
And love sacks, man. Everybody had love sacks.
Dude, it's so funny. Every time I see those, I'm like, they look awesome, but I just can't justify spending the money.
It's
on
so
them.
expensive, man.
Yeah.
It blew my mind how many I was delivering.
I have my own love sack.
I had one of the originals like in college, and like my buddy.
Like a beanbag?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. So get this. Like my buddy, his folks ended up throwing him out. It's like, dude, you can crash with me. Like he turned that thing into a fucking bed. Like he slept on that for the last 2 years of college at my place.
Yep.
Like
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's the simple things that guys need to sleep on.
Yeah.
I remember my first house when I got out of the military. It was like literally 500 feet away from the dealership that I worked at. I couldn't have worked out any more perfect. But all I never moved out of the living room. It had 3 bedrooms. Don't know why I needed all 3. I never used any of them other than to hang my clothes in a closet in one of them. And then the living room, I had my futon, and I slept on that every single night. It was
Was
crazy.
it one of the
like-
bar ones or one of the
Yeah,
wood
it was the
ones?
bar ones.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I spent the money on like, back then I probably spent like a lot of money on like the mattress toppers or whatever.
Oh, okay,
Now you
yeah.
can get those things for like $30 in Amazon. They come in a box this big, and you open them up, and they're like, boop.
Yep.
But yeah, it's the simple things in life. So, so you drove FedEx. Well, I guess let's talk about what you're doing now. What led to
Yeah.
you being a guest on the show? You sent me some information. It looks like you do a little bit of coaching and things like that, or you're trying to get
Yeah.
into the digital comedy or community. So, talk to us a little about what you're doing and
Yeah. So right now I'm building a coaching agency. It's just me at the moment, but I'm trying to help mostly men get there seems to be a lot of people feeling stuck and like they're not in control of their own lives, and so I'm just trying to help people find their way out of that rut.
Fair
you know?
enough.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we started the show was the idea that the guys could sit around a table, have conversations that, for the last 4 years specifically, but really for the last 10, it's the in my opinion, the outlook of men in the conversation, the thing that they're allowed to say. Like now, all of them are expected to be kinder, gentler, softer, politically correct, and it's like there's like this stigma to the old-fashioned guy that cussed,
masculinity.
sweared. Yeah, I guess you could call it male masculinity, but I don't like that form because it sounds like such a political term. But
Yeah.
just the idea of a guy just being guy, and not having to like meet all these checkpoints in the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see it now in our youth,
Yeah.
right? We were having the conversation today because when we had a Valentine's Day episode the other night, and guys across the table, they're all single, and I'm like, okay, well, what's your approach to a woman, and how are you dressed?
Yeah.
And it sounds simple, but like we're at breakfast this morning, and one of the girls that was with us was like, I don't remember the last time I had a guy like come up to me and ask me out that was like wearing like a button-up shirt or something like
Right. Like
and that's hygiene to me, but it's like, these are like
Yeah.
simple. So it's like wearing off to where like we're just becoming these like couch potatoes.
yeah.
So it's awesome that this is something that you want to get started. What kind of led to the idea that this is something you wanted to tackle? And do you have any expertise in the background as far as coaching or counseling or anything like that?
Yeah. So I went through several different stages in life, right? Where I faced addiction, and I came out of that. But then when I came out of that, my brain didn't know how to be happy by itself. So then I faced depression, right? And I'd never faced anything like that before. And so I got on antidepressants for about 6 months, but all they did was make me angry all the time. So I was going to college at the time for communications, right, at IU. And so I did some research because I had access to all sorts of databases and stuff, and figured out how to rewire my own brain and get off those antidepressants.
Yeah.
So when I figured that out, I continued to study communications. And then when I got out of there, I did a year-long boot camp. We were talking shortly before the show here for software engineering,
Mhm.
and learned how to be a full-stack developer. And believe it or not, that actually computes to, how our brains work way more than I thought it would. Learning how to program a computer versus program our minds, it's very similar. And so that kind of opened up some new avenues for me. But then I went and I got my first certification in life coaching, and then I went and got certified in NLP training and hypnotherapy. And so you know what NLP is?
No, I do not.
It's neuro-linguistic programming. It's basically how we develop the world around us by the language we use to describe it, right? And it's basically a way of breaking into your subconscious and making it do things you want on autopilot. Is
Okay.
basically what it is.
All right. So you went to, where'd you go to school for this?
Online.
Oh, online.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So so there's a lot to like unpack on all this different stuff. So let's start out with let's go through your lifestyle a little bit. So you mentioned you battled addiction.
Yeah.
How long was that a part of your life? How did that start? And
So
how did you end up getting, overcoming it?
yeah. So I was I don't know how I got into it necessarily. I started smoking weed when I was really young. Everybody says it's a gateway. Kind of. I would kind of agree to that, but not really. I mean, I don't know too many people that go from, smoking weed to full blown heroin addict. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's not really as connected as people think. But I started, dabbling in, Lortabs when I was in high school, that kind of thing. Adderall, you know, staying up, partying all weekend with my buddies, that kind of thing. And you know, by the time I was 23, I was a full blown cocaine addict.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, I dealt
Like-
with that for about
Like blowjobs in the back alley, cocaine
No,
addict,
you know, actually,
or like just
Go
a
from
$5
one to
hamburger
100.
in the corner, right?
no.
Yeah, no,
but
not-
when you say full blown addict, like
Yeah. So to the point where I was, you know, moving it so that I could afford it.
gotcha.
Yeah. So I wasn't to the
So
point
you're putting
where,
yourselves at all kinds of risk.
yeah, absolutely. You know, doing, you know, I wasn't hurting people or anything like that directly. You know what I mean? But I was in situations that I should have been in.
Sure.
You know, and so for about 4 years, every day, all day, I was high on cocaine.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of things that go with that you know you don't hear about in DARE class.
Yeah.
Right. And like when I quit, first of all, like I said, my brain could not do happy on its own. Like
Yeah.
it just did not produce dopamine at all. Right. So when I stopped doing it, because cocaine's a euphoric feeling.
Yeah,
Right?
of course.
Yeah. So my brain didn't know how to do it without the drugs anymore. So I instantly wanted to kill myself when I quit.
Yeah.
And I quit cold turkey, which I don't recommend. It was very hard on my body. It took about 6 months before I was worth a damn doing anything, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about 3 months of physical withdrawal after doing it for that long. It's not like a few days of, oh, I'm dying and throwing up. Like it took months for me to get back to where I was kosher to be in public.
What's the withdrawal off of cocaine like? 'Cause I thought that was one of those drugs where there wasn't necessarily a withdrawal off of it, but
Yeah,
obviously
with
there's
4
a-
years in, there's
Yeah.
a withdrawal for sure. So the
I
initial
think it'd be more
withdrawal.
mental than anything, though.
Yeah, I mean, still to this day, it's been almost a decade since I did it, and I'm still waking up and saying, you know, a bump would be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the mental thing, it's definitely there.
Well, a lot of people don't talk about when people talk about cocaine, they think of like, oh, it makes you, you know, you're just having a great time. It's like da 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 da. But
Yeah.
cocaine and Adderall share a lot of properties in the sense of like, and so does crack.
Yeah.
Where like it does unlock a part of your brain that's not active normally.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's a crash when you're off of it. And
Yeah.
anytime that you maximize a part of your body or your mind due to a drug, and then you don't have that drug,
There's
like,
definitely
you want
the
that.
other-
There's a craving to have that back.
Yeah.
You know, because it's even like doing steroids in the gym. Like if you're on a testosterone for 8 weeks and you're taking something else with it, and you're going to notice gains, you're going to notice a different feeling, you're going to be less tired, your stamina's going to be better. And then when you're off, it's like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Life is
Feel
worse without
sluggish. You don't-
steroids.
Yeah,
you
you
know?
don't like it anymore, right?
So yeah, I can imagine there'd be some kind of mental strain at that aspect.
Yeah, it honestly the mental aspect was probably the hardest part to get over, especially because I wasn't just doing it; I was making my money off of it.
Yeah.
And so stepping out of that and into a job where I made $8.50 an hour,
Ugh,
and going through withdrawal on top of it, it was just
Depression.
terrible. It was terrible. The depression was
Yeah.
unreal. Yeah, and I mean, I would make what I made in a week at my new job when I started. You know, I'd make that in 30 minutes. You know, before.
Yeah.
And so that part was really hard to get over too.
So what led to you actually making the decision to actually clean yourself up? Because I mean, a lot of people in that lifestyle aren't thinking about getting clean; they're thinking about growing.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's a fact, and it's very easy to get sucked into it and just stay in that rut there, right? So I met a girl, right, and she said, "Hey, I like you, but I don't like that."
Yeah.
And then one of my lifelong friends stepped back into my life after a few years because we went to church together growing up, and so she took care of me in the nursery at the church, and you know when I was a teenager, I used to go over to their house. Her brother was my youth pastor. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of time there, and so she stepped in my life and said, "Hey, you know, if you want to get out of that lifestyle, I'm willing to help." Right? So her and her husband both were a huge part in me actually succeeding in the endeavor. But the real driving factor was definitely my now ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she told me that she liked me but she didn't like it, it you know, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. And then we were together about 8 months, and she got pregnant with my daughter. And so that gave me a reason to really, you know, just
To stay that way.
not go back to it.
Sure.
Yeah. And so I think the reason I went with uppers is because I had night terrors and I didn't like to go to sleep because every time I went to sleep, I was fighting for my life. And so anything that would keep me up was cool with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had night terrors.
Yeah, I've actually got a tattoo here. It's not quite finished, but it's my teddy bear fighting off my night terrors, right?
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get that finished up, and I'm gonna have Van Gogh's Starry Night. I'm gonna have that, but the word nightmares written in the stars of it.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a nice little piece once it's finished.
Yeah. So let's talk about night terrors. What does that even entail? What's the backing behind that? Has you guys ever dealt with that, or known anybody that dealt with that?
I've had a friend's daughter has night terrors because her husband beat the daughter constantly and the wife, so the daughter constantly had night terrors of waking up and stuff.
Yeah.
And she would call me sometimes and be like, "Yeah, I'm still up. I'm still in my bed, in the bed with my daughter right now." I'm like,
Yeah.
at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
because she couldn't go to sleep because she had a nightmare or a night terror and wake up, and it took her hours to go back to bed.
Oh yeah. So the difference between nightmares and night terrors, nightmares are scary, right? But night terrors, like, it's to your core. Like it's happening. It's not a dream at all. It's very real, and it's very terrifying, to say the least.
Right.
Right.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my recurring night terrors that I had for a long time was I was running through the woods, right? And I'm in first person, just running through these woods, and there's a pack of wolves chasing me, right? And then it kind of like zooms out into like a third person, right? And I start climbing a tree trying to get away from these wolves, and they pull me down and rip me apart.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I feel it all. I see it all. Like it's very real.
That's
and so
crazy.
I'd wake up to.
Then you show up to my house and there's 3 of them in the driveway. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. I walked in and he was like, "Hey, just watch this big one here." I was like, "Yeah, no doubt. Definitely got my eye on that one." Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So that was one of them. And I mean, they're random. You know what I mean?
Do you know what caused it over time of like period of your life, like
so
traumatic
it started
problems
right
from
around.
family?
It started right around the time my parents got divorced.
Okay.
So that was a big deal. My brother went off to the military at the same time. My oldest brother, he'd been gone out of the house and had his own family and things like that. So it was very just me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's around the time frame that it started.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I struggled with them for 20 years. They actually disappeared when my ex-wife showed up. That was
Wow.
one of the reasons I took her so serious, is because when she was around, I didn't have them.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So
All right, so you go through that. You're able to complete addiction, but then obviously depression sinks in because you hit yourself every day with your crappy job and your
yeah,
my
no money,
cocaine and
no
fucking-
cocaine, no money,
yeah.
no several women around me all the time, and went to a one-woman man and a part-time $8.50 an hour job, and,
Yeah.
antidepressants that all they do is make me want to punch people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was interesting, and it was not the funnest time of my life getting out of it. But I'm so glad I did, man. It was either prison or death that I was facing. So by the end of it, I was doing hundreds and hundreds of dollars of cocaine every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow. That's not hard to do.
it's
but-
really not. It's an expensive drug.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I always told people it's a rich man's drug.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Unless you want some really shitty stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fact.
But it's funny because fortunately I've never became addicted to any drug, but I like to say that
You've dabbled.
I've experimented in them, most of them not until later in life. Matter of fact, like I was a good kid. I smoked weed once in a while, but it wasn't until my 30th birthday, right after I got divorced, that I actually did cocaine for the first time.
Yeah.
And it
Divorce
was
will
in-
lead to cocaine. For
yeah,
sure.
and it was in Vegas. Well, my buddy talked me into it. Brothers can lead to freaking cocaine too.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But and I had a great weekend. But I'll never forget. Like we flew out like on a Friday at like 7:00, got to Vegas, partied all weekend hard, and then Monday was like, actually it wasn't even Monday. It was periodically through Saturday and Sunday where I was like, I need another bump. Like I feel like like that crash
it's
is
serious business.
so I couldn't imagine going through that on a regular basis. You would literally have to do it all day, every day if you were like every
Yeah.
couple hours, because the crash is
Couple
like
of hours,
nothing
yeah.
else, dude. Like
Yeah.
when you come down, like you just everything in life sucks again.
No, you're mad at everybody and everything. You know what I mean? You feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know, and all you can think is, you know, a bump would make me feel so much better.
Well, yeah, and it's all the other side
know what I mean?
effects too, like your
Or-
nose, your
or
fucking, all the other stuff.
a
Like,
caterpillar of a worm of a lion.
Yeah.
Is what, you know what I mean? Like, you know, not necessarily just a bump, but by the time I was done, I was doing, I call them rails. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, like full blown, you know, 3-4 inches and or you know ½ inch thick and you know $100 line of cocaine. You know
jeez,
what I
oh
mean?
man,
Yeah.
that's insane.
It was excessive as hell.
yeah, but hey,
Yeah.
you know what? Addiction leads to success in your case. So
Yeah.
you get to do depression.
Yeah.
Now
So
let's talk about that for a little bit because you said at that point you were going to IU.
yeah, I was going to.
So is
IU.
that something you're like, hey, I'm gonna work this part-time crappy job, but I'm gonna go to school at the same time.
Yeah.
And try to do
So
something better?
one of the friend that I was talking about that reached out to me and said that they would help. They said they would give me a place to live that was affordable but big enough for me, and as long as I was clean and that I was going to school, right? And so I mean I signed up for school, you know, and they gave me a 3-bedroom house to live in, and for about 6 months they didn't charge me rent or utilities
Wow.
at all. Yeah.
Dang, that's a good friend.
Yeah, very good friend.
Yeah.
You know, it was a house that they could have easily charged $1,000 a month for rent, you know, and they were letting me stay in it for free,
That's awesome.
you know. And so then we had our baby. We had our baby the week of my first college finals.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we had her. She actually was born the day after Thanksgiving, and I went back after Thanksgiving and took my first finals.
Nice.
Nailed them, passed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were going to school for communication at that point?
Yeah, communications and.
Did you know what you wanted to do, or you had an idea, or you were just trying to get something?
Yeah, my original idea was I wanted to be a TV writer,
Okay.
right? I wanted to write for sitcoms or something like that. And the nice thing about a communications degree is you can get any job that you get with a business degree, and the average person makes 20% more with a communications degree for the same position.
Wow.
So I thought, well, even if I don't do the writing, you know, I can fall back and do business
Sure.
and still make more money than if I got a business degree.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then I minored in music while I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did well in your first finals. Did you end up graduating with a bachelor's,
yeah,
associates?
yeah, I got a bachelor's.
Bachelor's
and,
degree. How long did it take you to do that? Was it 4 years then?
Yeah, it was more like 5.5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah. I was working 2 or 3 part-time jobs at a time.
Well, yeah, because at that
And,
point, it's not just you in the free house. It's now you got a baby.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And shortly after, it was no longer a free house. When I started working
Sure.
and doing things, you know, they were like, hey, you
Time
know,
to
you got to
start
start standing on your own feet here, you know. And so we ended up moving out of there and into, where did we move next? We moved in with my mom for a little while after that. And then I got a job at Texas Roadhouse, actually. And I became a kitchen manager for them. And we moved into a hotel for that for 5 months, 5.5 months. And 3 weeks into that training, because they shipped me out to Lafayette, Indiana, which was about an hour away, hour and 20 minutes away to the Texas Roadhouse that I was being trained at from where I lived. But, you know, I had to be there 5 days a week, 6 days a week for training. And it was a 17-week training program.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, a lot of people don't
Dude,
realize.
you don't even hear about that kind of stuff
No, I've
anymore.
never-
Texas
No.
Roadhouse.
You
put
hear about wheat rolls and honey butter.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
about it.
You got all the
cinnamon
butter.
butter, man.
17 weeks in school to learn how to grill a steak and cook
Yeah.
a fucking baked potato.
Yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it than people think. Yeah, I had to be able to like taste because everything was made from scratch right there in the restaurant, including like cutting the steaks from the whole loins back there in our own meat cutting room.
Really?
Yeah. So they cut the steaks right
We
there.
have a whole
on the spot.
podcast on freaking
Meat.
at the Texas Roadhouse. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah, man. Everybody that I tell that I work there is like, "Can you make me some rolls? can you make the butter?"
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I can do it if you want like 2,000 rolls made out of this recipe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I didn't make 10 rolls at a time. You know what I mean? So I made 30 pounds of butter at a time. I don't think you need 30 pounds of cinnamon butter, do you?
Oh my gosh.
You
that's
know what I
great.
mean?
Well,
I'm
maybe,
sure we could break it
maybe.
down.
Maybe.
That is pretty good butter.
For a
fair.
week.
That's
You're
one of those
right.
butters where my wife's just sitting there. She's got the thing in her hand. She's
Oh,
not
yes.
even buttering. She's just
No, you just take the roll.
It's like a
and-
dip at that point.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So
It's not a dip.
Apparently, it's the butter. Apparently.
no, yeah, you're supposed to spread it.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
But no, it's
So
was
17
interesting.
weeks. What was that like? And you guys.
So-
I'm sorry, I cut you off, but
No, yeah,
you were
go-
living in a hotel at that point.
Yeah,
So,
so,
you just went.
it was me and my daughter at this point is about 2 years old, and my wife at the time, and we're all three with our pit bull
Oh my gosh.
in this hotel for 5 months.
Somebody's gonna die. It's not
So
a pit bull.
3 weeks in, during all of this, my addiction and things like that, I lost my license, right? And because I got pulled over and got arrested for an OWI for being under the influence of marijuana, right?
Yeah.
Which was like the craziest thing I'd ever heard of in my life.
They
First
don't
of all,
really have rules on
first
that
of all, I
stuff.
wasn't high, right,
Yeah.
when I got pulled over, but I had a bag of weed on me. And so instead of, just taking me to jail for possession of marijuana, he proceeded to do 4 hours of sobriety tests on me. And took me to the hospital, did 4 hours of testing on me, and then put me, this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. He put me in a dark bathroom with him for 2 minutes straight, right? And I was like, okay, this is the most weird interaction with a police officer I've ever had, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would you put yourself in a dark room with a guy you just arrested without cuffing me or anything? I thought it was he was very trusting of me.
Or he
Right.
was just hoping that you were gonna try to get out of it.
Right,
Yeah.
something. I mean, so it was odd to me. But then he flashed his flashlight in my eye and said, "Your pupil jumps. You're high. I'm taking your blood, and you're going to jail." And I was like, "That's crazy! Like, of course my pupil's gonna jump. You just put me in a pitch dark room for 2 minutes and then flashed a flashlight in my eye."
I'm surprised your attorney didn't have a field day with this.
Well, it was hard because it wasn't just one bag of weed. I had 4 bags of weed on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my lawyer was like, "Just shut up." You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what happened here. But the entire thing happened. He said that my plates were expired and they weren't. So like, it started off with like a whole thing. I really don't know why he pulled me, but he pulled the right guy that day. You know what I mean? So I ended up going to jail, and when I got out, I continued to drive without my license because I needed to go to work and things like that. You know what I mean? And so I got caught. So for 6.5 years, I didn't have a license.
Jesus.
Right? Yeah. I had my license for, I think, a total of 2 months in that 6-year period. Yeah, because I couldn't afford insurance or whatever. I had to have an SR22 for 5 years.
Wow.
So if your insurance lapses even for a day, you lose your license for another year. You know what I mean? So I was stuck in that vicious cycle for, like I said, 6 years. And so I got myself a moped finally and decided, like, hey, I'm going to stop going to jail over silly things like not having a license, right? And so I got ran over 3 weeks into this training program.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I got ran over by an SUV, this Buick Enclave doing 60 miles an hour down the road.
Jesus.
Came up behind me and just smeared me across the concrete.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was 3 weeks into this brand new job, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, they're gonna fire me. Like, my whole family just moved into this hotel, and 3 weeks in, I'm laid up in the hospital, and no broken bones. Don't know how that happened. I slid about 150 feet on the concrete. I've got not scabs, but scars on my elbows and my knees. But yeah, I stood up, I jumped around for a second, and I was like, that was crazy. And then I looked down, and the entire top of my shoe was shredded off my foot. And I went, oh, if that's that messed up, I'm probably pretty messed up here. And so I'm going to sit down. And as soon as I sat down, my lips started to tingle. And I said, okay, I'm going to lay down. Right. And I started to go into shock. And 15 seconds later, there's 4 people standing over me. And one of the guys looks at me and he says, hey, if you're going to get hit, today's the day, man. You got 3 off-duty EMTs and a nurse practitioner right here. I was like, I mean, I guess if I'm going to get hit, it's now, right?
That's hilarious.
So they proceeded to check me out. They said that I had a scrape on my forehead, so they were asking me, my name and stuff like that, make sure I was coherent. And I said, look, man, tell me it's not my hair, right? Because at this point, I've been growing my hair out for about 4.5 years at this point. And so the men in my family are bald, man. So I'm like, oh, please God, no, because it might not grow back, right? You know what I mean? And so he was like, are you serious? I said, dude, just tell me if it's in my hair or not.
Take
right?
my eyes, but not my hair.
I promise, man. I said, this has been the longest relationship I've ever had in my life. Please tell me it's still there, right? And so I was fine. It wasn't in my hair. But they proceeded to cut my pants off of me. And, I was mad about that. They were brand new jeans, man. I was like, you could have just asked me to take these off. And he was like, no, dude, you're not moving. Started cutting them off. I was like, man, these are my nice jeans. It's like, they cost me $20 at the Walmart, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't thrilled about that. But my wife, she was on her way to Lafayette. I was riding the moped out there because I was, a mile away from the hotel.
Jeez.
So like I was gonna just ride it to and from during the week and let her have the car kind of thing.
Yeah.
And especially because she had our 2-year-old and the dog in a hotel room. Like,
Yeah,
it'd be
get out of
nice
there.
if she could get out
Yeah.
and do something. So I I had 5.5 weeks there that I was recovering from that. And they fed me Loratabs like crazy. So I really struggled through that because I was just into my sobriety, about 2 years.
What are Lord
And,
tabs?
pain medication.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was I struggled. I mean, I didn't take any more than what they prescribed and stuff like that, but the withdrawal from that was not fun either. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I did that I was on those for, I don't know, roughly 5 or 6 weeks. And I think they say it only takes 5 days to build a habit off of pain
Yeah,
medication.
I think it's only 3 days to build a habit now.
Yeah, so
but still.
I mean, by the time I was done with that, I went through withdrawal of that, and then I had my first kidney stone, and this is like week 12 of the 17 weeks of training. And
So they kept you on board.
oh yeah, they kept me. They actually paid me. They paid me my short-term disability.
Wow.
3 weeks into having that job, they paid me 60% of my wages and kept me in the hotel for an extra 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, they really took care of me. I'm not gonna lie. They definitely.
For those of you
did
looking
their
for a
part.
first job, man, this might be the spot. Shoot.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Texas Roadhouse takes care of their people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do. So then I had my kidney stone. I fought this kidney stone for 26 days.
That is freaking
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh man, my
no
luck
sonic
was.
bath or anything.
No, so they just kept telling me that it was small enough it should pass on its own. And then they just kept
No,
handing me
no.
3 days of Loratabs, 3 days worth of pain pills, and said go home and pee into this strainer basically and catch the stone when it comes out. And so
This is how naive I am. I don't even know what Lord tabs are. Like you say, it's a pain medicine. Are they actually called Lord tabs, or is that like a nickname in Indiana for something like Percocet?
It's definitely Lortab, Lortab.
So that's exactly
It's
what
oxycodone.
it is. So
Yeah,
it's
the same thing.
Are you looking it
basically.
up? Like I've never heard of these before. This must be an Indiana thing. They're like, just
well,
give everybody Lord tabs.
Here's some you're right, yeah. Here's some background on that. There was actually a doctor in my town. You could look him up, and I'm sure you could Google this. Dr. Warner. What was it? Doctor. It starts with a W. Anyway, he would actually prescribe people pain medication and give them an outrageous amount, and then have them sell them on the street.
On the street for money.
And,
I've heard-
bring him money back.
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here.
I've heard stuff like that in
yeah.
New York City
Him and
and Chicago.
Him and his wife went
Yeah.
down for it. I mean,
There's a ton of those stories.
Yeah.
Pill
Yeah.
those pill mills.
Mhm.
Yep.
Lord
Yeah.
by backing up just a little bit, Lortabs. It's hydrocodone.
hydrocodone. That's what it is. Yeah, which is different than OxyContin.
Yeah.
It's much different. Yeah,
It's an addictive narcotic, though.
it very much so is. Yeah.
But I was going to say, kidney stones. Like my dad had kidney stones when he was
Yeah.
younger, and he's like, forget that. I will never.
yeah.
He's like, he had Sonic's baths and
Mhm.
stuff, and he said it's still like, it's no pain like he's ever felt before.
Oh,
Because it's
it's-
in your lower back. It starts in your lower back.
Yeah, so when I got to the hospital, they made me wait 8 hours because it's the middle of COVID when this is all happening
my
too,
God.
right?
Fucking
And so I'm
COVID.
sitting there, like I sat down in the chair at work. I plopped down and I went, "Oh man, that hurt." And I was like, "I'm getting old. I should
Yeah.
probably work on that, right?"
Yeah.
Because at this point, I'm like 28 years old. I'm not very old, right?
Mm-mm.
And so I was like, I shouldn't hurt by sitting down in a rolling chair,
Right.
But about 5 minutes later, I'm pouring sweat and feel like I'm gonna throw up. And I was like, something's wrong. I'm going to go to the bathroom. And like, I could barely walk. And then when I got to the bathroom, I was just projectile vomiting
Jesus.
for like, I could not handle it. And then I started pooping my guts out on top of it.
Oh my
Like my
God.
body's just going into
It's
full
just
blown
full
shock.
It sounds
Yeah,
like,
it's just releasing everything, trying to figure out what's wrong, right? And so I fought that for 26 days.
How did
and
you
then,
even like operate? And like,
Lortab. yeah, the pain medication.
Is that as high as fuck?
and yeah, pretty much. And
Yeah.
I'm in there trying to learn how to run a restaurant that I need to be able to like walk by and taste our salad dressings. We made it right there on the spot. Right. Well, I had to be able to walk by, look at it, and tell you what wasn't in it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why it took 17 weeks of training. I had to go through every position in the entire restaurant and do their job for their training period.
Gotcha.
Right? So like the meat cutting, I was in the meat cutting room for 10 days straight, learning how to cut steak.
That's pretty sweet though. Good. What's it called to learn?
Yeah.
Kids.
good
Yeah.
skill.
Yeah,
skill.
it's definitely a skill. The Lafayette, Texas Roadhouse, the meat cutter there, man, his name was Santo, and He was a beast. He was surgical with these knives. He had his own set of knives that he won at a steak cutting competition for Texas Roadhouse.
No
Like,
shit.
Oh yeah, man.
Man, we got to have somebody on from Texas Roadhouse. I got to hear more about all this.
Yeah.
yeah.
This is the entertaining part of the story. We're like sitting here engaged in a Texas Roadhouse story.
So-
Also, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hungry.
Steak and potatoes.
Good steak and
with-
potatoes right
Hey,
now.
those
And rolls.
the rattlesnake bites.
Oh, there's not anyone. There's none of those around here.
Now we got to go back to Parma.
It's Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, Brooklyn. Old
Yeah,
Brooklyn.
there's one in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's one.
There's
right,
a-
right,
there's a
like
Brooklyn,
10 minutes away
Ohio?
from my house.
Yeah.
There's a Brooklyn, Ohio.
Okay.
Dinner
okay.
after the show.
Yeah, there we go.
So, all right, you're going through this training program.
Yeah,
We're
so,
getting off track.
no,
but,
so, yeah,
you're 12
sorry.
weeks in. No,
Yeah,
that's
12 weeks in, and then, so I end up having surgery and a stent put in after they removed this kidney stone.
Jesus.
Right. So yeah, my luck through this time period is like it's unbelievable.
Mm.
Right.
Was
so,
it like the size of an eighth?
like
8-ball size?
give or take? Yeah. So it was 5 millimeters is all it was. 5 millimeters, and they say that anything smaller than 6 should pass on its own, and so that's why they were just like, go home, you'll pee it out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I ended up having to pay $7,000 out of pocket to get this surgery,
Mm.
and they put this. It's a stent that they put. A lot of people think that when you have a kidney stone, it's your dick that hurts, right? And it's not. It's actually the tube between your kidney and your bladder,
Right.
right? It's called your ureter,
Mhm.
right? And so these things are just, I mean, they're microscopic. They're tiny, right? And so it's supposedly big enough that this thing should pass through. And the pain and the blood and all that comes from when it's moving. It's cutting through
Right.
that ureter,
Yeah.
right? And so they went in, they took it out and they put this 14-inch stent in me. And at the end of this, it's about the size of an old mouse wire,
Yeah.
you know, for a computer. And so imagine that inside of you, and
In your
then
pee hole.
they had a little,
No, I mean, your thrower.
yeah. So it curls up in your kidney, and then it curls up in your bladder, and then they had a string attached to that came out and taped it to my leg, right? And so I had to walk around like that for 7 days, and so went through. Oh yes, here we
got
go.
pictures.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
those are wow. That's a mighty fine kidney stone right
Well,
there.
Hey, they birthed one there
Yeah,
for sure.
geez. Well, I have a friend. Well, not a friend. Friends of a friend. He has a condition, and his body produces kidney stones on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And literally, he cannot work. He's supplied by the government because he'll have 2 or 3 kidney stones a day.
Oh God.
Get the fuck out
no,
of here.
I am not
That
joking.
can't be a thing.
No, that's
Yeah.
a thing. That's
So,
literally a thing.
My FedEx boss, his mother had, they actually had to cut into her kidney and take out hundreds of stones.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, hundreds of kidney stones.
And guess what kidney stones are from? For drinking milk.
Yeah, it's
tea,
calcium.
Calcium. buildup.
Calcium
yeah.
or phosphorus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I always. That's
That's
why.
why, man, you're not
Drink water.
You're not built to drink milk.
No.
Okay, you drink from the teat, then you're done.
And then done.
Could you imagine if like you were like
I drink
like,
water constantly. Water.
You're like walking through the Amazon and like the fucking king of the jungle lion is over there and he's like, "Hey, bitch, give me some titty. I need some milk."
I need some milk.
Nobody needs milk.
Yeah,
It's
I do
just-
think it's weird that we drink milk from animals instead of like, you know.
I think it's
Oh,
weird that we
human.
drink milk at all.
Yeah,
And
well,
Yeah.
Other than cereal, it freaks me out. I
Other
can't.
than
I
cereal.
can't drink a glass of milk. It like
No, I haven't drank a glass of milk since I was like in high school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since they stopped the
Chocolate-
Got Milk campaign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Chocolate milk, I can fuck with that a little bit.
No, I'll drink
Yeah.
milk with my coffee sometimes, cereal, and maybe I put a little bit in my oatmeal, and that's about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
milk is not.
I'm
for
a
me.
big
That's
cookies
crazy.
and milk guy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, my wife will smash a whole freaking thing of Oreos with some. milk.
Without a doubt.
But she has a special technique, and I got to tell you, once she taught me this technique. Here, listen up. If anybody's still listening, make sure you like and share at this point. This is the ultimate Oreo cookie technique.
Here we go.
Don't
You
dump
take-
it in water.
You get yourself a glass, right? And you have you have a spoon. You put 2 Oreos on it. You put them in there, and you put them both in. You hold them down with the spoon, and then when they stop trying to just automatically pop back up,
Yeah,
'cause
when
they're
they stop
soaked,
bubbling.
you pull them out, and there's like a little sogginess to the outside cookie,
Mhm.
and it's soaked in the milk.
Mm.
It's fucking scary good, dude. Like,
Yeah.
let me just say,
melts,
like,
it melts in your mouth.
you
Right?
you could literally go through a whole family pack of those things between 2 people because you're not even paying attention. They're like just literally they melt in your
Yeah.
mouth as you eat them. You're like, it's
3
like,
Oreos deep, and all it was. You didn't even have to chew.
So she taught me that. So like now I don't even buy Oreos. Like I used to surprise her with a bag of Oreos if I go to the store or something, and she would always bring them home. We had to stop putting them in the house because literally if they were there, I would open those up and a row would be gone in 5 minutes. Like it was just
Yeah.
awful.
Guilty pleasure for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But all right, so kidney stones,
Yeah.
surgery,
So
14 inches of fucking stent put in
Pain.
your fucking
Yeah.
your urethra.
So probably the most traumatizing part of all that is when they removed the stent.
Yeah.
The guy looked at me. I went into the doctor's office and he looked at me and he says, "All right, man. When I start to pull, I'm not gonna stop until it's all the way out. And as soon as it's all the way out, I need you to grab it, twist it, and push it in." Talking about my dick. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's a weird thing. Like that's weird to me."
Yeah, wait,
right?
hold on.
Like-
Repeat these back. I don't want to fuck this up. You want me to do what?
Yeah. So apparently, if you don't do that, you just piss everywhere in the office.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
because like
fine.
everything's open from your kidney all the way out to the exit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so like you're just wide open, and so I forgot, right? Because like he pulled this thing out of me, and that wasn't comfortable.
No,
You know what I
can
mean? That wasn't a
imagine.
good time. So as it exited, and I went, "Oh God!" and he grabs it, twists it, and pushes it in. Right? And so that was it. He was like, "All right, man, take over," and I was like, "I don't like. How do you take over in this scenario?
Just hold it, bro.
Just you
Just
already got
hold
it, man.
Yeah.
You already got it. Just stick with it, man. You're already halfway there."
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Not, does it eventually close? I'm like, can't keep-
So he said between 30 seconds and a minute, you know if you're.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not still leaking now, though, right?
Thank God.
Doc, just
So-
look me in the eyes.
Yeah.
Eyes up here, Doc.
Yeah.
Eyes over here.
Stop looking
He
at
said,
it.
"I'm the
Stop
captain."
looking at it.
I want you to hold on to it. Just you
So-
got this under control.
About 30 seconds in, I've got a hold of it now, and I was like, okay, I think I'm good. I don't think I have to go to the bathroom. And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "No, I probably should." So I ended up walking from the room that I was in,
Exam room.
exam room. Yeah, walked from there to the bathroom down the hallway with my pants around my ankles, and just holding it and twisting it and pushing it in as I'm walking to the
Oh my
bathroom.
gosh, dude.
Yeah, so it was traumatizing, man. And then I had to walk back into that office out of that bathroom with all the nurses standing there, and I was like, "Sorry, guys," you know what I mean? They're like, "It happens every day. It's fine."
It's every
And
day.
yeah, so apparently that's a normal occurrence,
I
which I,
did
thought
not
was
know
weird.
that. I'd like
What part?
like you have to like grab it. Oh Jesus!
So
Oh
I
my
guess
God.
be thankful you weren't this guy from Sri Lanka. We'll
That's
have
a
to-
whole kidney worth of stone.
yeah,
Like,
that is the world's largest known kidney stone
Is that
removed.
the
It was-
stone or the kidney?
That's the kidney. It's the stone.
That's
It
the
was
stone.
five.
that's outrageous.
It was 5.26 inches long, weighing
my God.
1.76 pounds.
How did you not notice that was an issue? Like,
Oh, he did, but I don't think he had insurance.
That had to be. It's in Sri Lanka, so I don't know. We'll have to ask my buddy Vent then about that one.
that is fucking nuts, dude.
Man, that is gigantic, and I'm really glad I didn't have one of those.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so you get through kidney stones.
Yeah, get through kidney stones.
Doc
Like,
fills your cock up, and you're all good to go.
I don't even know if he was a doctor. I think he might just be some guy.
I think it was just some
Yeah.
guy walking down the hall.
He was like, "Hey, let me yank that thing out, and then I'm gonna grab a hold of you." All right?
Back to the alley for cocaine.
Yes.
So
Oh,
it
yeah.
went all the way back to the
Yeah.
beginning. Weird.
You want more pain pills, right? Let me go ahead and do this, right? So I get out of that, right? And so I'm dealing with this level of depression still, kind of, right? I was still getting the hang of rewiring my brain for myself, and it's not an easy task. And after the withdrawal from the drugs, I lost my motor function in my hands. I couldn't even tie my own shoes at first. And so the recovery process was like way more in depth than I thought. Because like I said, you don't learn about that stuff in DARE. You're just like, oh yeah, people do drugs and that's that. And you don't realize like, hey, I might not be able to eat a bowl of cereal after I do these drugs.
right.
You know what I mean? So it took me, I started doing sleight of hand magic and playing guitar and piano. And that's how I got my fingers to work again.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was part of, the rewiring process. It wasn't just my brain; it was also, motor function as well.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it was a hell of a process, and I figured if I could do that for myself, maybe I could turn it into something that I could do for other people. You know what I mean, and help them through not necessarily addiction, but overcoming any kind of limiting beliefs about themselves or bad habits that they have that they want to like the Oreos that we were just talking about.
Terrible Oreos.
You know what I mean? Teach people how to set goals for themselves and actually reach them. Build their confidence level up, that kind of thing. And so yeah, that's that's really how I got into what I do now.
So at this point, when you're done with you're going through your training, are you still going to college? Or you're done with that.
I had just finished college.
So you just finished college.
yeah.
That helped you get this job because now you get to say you got a degree. And they're
Right,
like, look at this
absolutely.
guy who's got a degree and he wants to come work at fucking Texas Roadhouse.
Yep.
You work at Texas Roadhouse for what, about 3 years? is that-
Year and a half.
Year and a half.
Year and a
then
half.
During that process, things start to get better for you.
Yeah. So I started to really kind of like find my stride. You know what I mean? And my daughter really helped with that too. She softened me up a lot, man. Going from a guy who does drugs all the time and does whatever he wants and stuff like that. It was a completely different world I stepped into with my ex-wife and my daughter, and they saved my life, man. They
Cool.
really did.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
So it's I told people that I was praying for a woman to come into my life, and there she was, man. You know
So
what I mean?
how long ago was this whole process? Because you said COVID at one point.
Yeah, so the Texas Roadhouse happened about 2 years after I got clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like what, 2022, 2021?
So 2020 is when I got ran over by the car.
Okay.
Which was right when I was getting trained for Texas Roadhouse.
Right.
So 2018, my daughter was born.
Okay.
So 2017 into 2018 is when I got clean. Yeah. So we're looking, 8.5 years ago now, something like that.
All right. So
Yeah.
what? You were Texas Roadhouse for a year and a half. At that process, is that when you begin talking about this coaching business that you want to start, or was it after that even?
So yeah, it was still even after that. I started after Texas Roadhouse. I started working at the Walmart distribution center in Gas City in Indiana there, and so I worked in a negative 25-degree freezer all day for 10 or 12 hours, stacking 7-foot tall pallets of food.
Nice.
And then driving the forklift back out, doing it again all day long. So they called us industrial athletes, is what they called us.
Nice.
And so we would cover about 20 to 30 miles a day on foot, and we'd lift between 20 and 35,000 pounds every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ended up losing a lot of weight and building a lot of mental fortitude working in that freezer.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so that was another step in my, my development for myself, and learning how to, set goals and reach them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because really, the only thing I'd ever done up until this point was high school and then college, and I waited years and years for college after high school. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
started college when I was 20, 25. So it was an interesting time. And then shortly after that, I started going to school for the software development, right? And I thought, okay, this will be a way where I can make money. And then I was working with my brother on the side. We developed, I was telling you about it earlier a little bit. We had a clothing line for mental health and suicide awareness that we started. It was called Threads of Hope. So that was an idea we were working on. We started our own software consulting firm, and then we started a coaching program as well. And so I was kind of in charge of the coaching program. He was in there with me, but I was going to my certification programs and stuff like that while I worked at the Walmart distribution center.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so I went through my first certification program there. I got certified as a life and transformation coach is what I got certified as there.
Oh, so you actually have a certification along with this?
Yeah, I have 2 now.
Wow.
And I'm working on a 3rd right now.
Right. So let's talk about that a little bit. What are those 2 certs?
So I have my life coaching certification, and then I have my NLP and hypnotherapy certification.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
timeline therapy is another thing that I'm trained in, and CBD, or not CBD, but CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm not certified in that, but I'm trained in that.
So what's the process like because you were going for software, correct?
Yeah.
This is when you told me you were learning to code.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did that turn into life coaching, and where were you going to school in order to learn and be certified in that?
So I went to App Academy for the coding.
Okay.
Yeah, it was an online boot camp there. It's not a cheap boot camp, but they have unbelievable curriculum, and the teachers there were actually really, really down to earth and knew how to break things down.
And this was online?
Yeah. Yeah.
So were you a tech savvy guy before that, or was this just something you wanted?
No, I've never really been the tech guy. My brother's always been the tech guy. He worked for Amazon.com. I worked there when I was like 18 for a while at one of their distribution centers. And so he worked his way into the inventory control, quality assurance, and started building programs for them and teaching himself how to code. And so he worked with them for 7 years in that department. And he actually developed one of the systems that Amazon still uses today for their fulfillment.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And he was in the military, and he wrote some computer programs for artillery as well. So he was definitely the tech guy. So when we started the tech company and the coaching company, I was more on the coaching. He was more on the tech, right?
Okay.
But I was skilled enough that I could help build websites, that kind of thing. And
Was this all under one site? Did you guys have one company?
yeah, so we had one company,
Jesus.
and we did business as 3 different entities underneath
Gotcha.
it. Yeah. So
What was the name of the company?
that was Phoenix Consulting, and then our software company was. He's gonna kill me.
We'll just leave it at Phoenix Consulting.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
It covers them all.
Yeah, for sure. It was. It had to do with bourbon, which is probably why I don't remember it, because he's the bourbon guy too.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
We
so
need to have him come out for the show on the 22nd.
hey, I tell you what, he's got a nice collection. He's got some old Pappy, things
Wow.
like that. And he might have all 8 of the bottles now.
Wow.
Oh.
We
Yeah.
don't even have a Pappy here.
Yeah.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean,
Now, if
it's pretty-
anybody's listening and would like to
Donate.
donate,
a bottle
share,
of Pappy.
send, bring,
Sponsor.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sponsor.
Just send the
Bef-
bottle.
yeah,
We'll take an empty bottle.
We'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Before February 22nd, when we do our show, we gotta pour something else in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
Anyhow,
Yeah, so I tried one of the bottles of Pappy one time, and I'm not gonna lie to you. After I took the drink, I was like, man, that was like $100 drink of bourbon, and it was not good. Like, he was like, don't ever say that again in my house. Yeah, but we got into building up this coaching agency together, and then my house burnt down.
Yeah. So, I don't know. You've mentioned to ex-wife a couple of times. You guys got divorced at some point. Was that before or after this port? Was that during you going to school?
So it
I feel like there's
was
a whole chunk we're missing here.
Yeah, there was. I kind of jumped over that, didn't I?
That's okay.
Yeah, that wasn't on purpose. I promise.
No. It's fine.
I moved out to a little town called Sweetser, which is by Marion, Indiana.
Okay.
Which is about an hour on the other side of Kokomo, which is where I live now.
Okay. And that's so I've been to Indiana like 4 times. West of Indianapolis.
All right. So Kokomo, which is where I live now, an hour north of Indy.
Okay.
Right. So dead center of Indiana, pretty much an hour north of Indy is where
Okay.
I live now. So the training for Texas Roadhouse and all that happened an hour west in Lafayette.
Gotcha.
Where,
I know where
which
Lafayette's at, actually.
Purdue
Okay.
and all that, right? And then I actually ran a Texas Roadhouse, the kitchen manager for the Texas Roadhouse in Marion, which is 40 minutes on the other side of Kokomo.
Good night, man.
Right.
Quick
so-
shout out to my buddy Rob up there at the Kokomo Country Palace, by the way.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
there you go. That's the place where I go, on Friday nights to have my one beer.
Your one beer?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, a buddy of ours is the line dance instructor up there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Rob.
Yep.
Rob and I forget. Sorry, Rob. Forget the wife's name.
That's the ones that came out here and danced with us
Patty's
a couple
friends.
of times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been out here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small
He came out-
world, man.
Yeah.
Small world.
Super small world.
Yeah.
Kokomo.
Yeah.
Kokomo, Indiana.
How about that?
I actually met him originally when he used to work at whatchamacallit, Coyote, no, not Coyote Joe's, the other one down in, it's in Indy, or it was in Indy. It closed down, but yeah, I met him probably 8 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
So
Small world, man.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There you go. That's you get into that line dancing action down there.
So the Texas Roadhouse that I ran in Marion, we had line dancers, right?
Oh, really?
We were the national champions 2 years in a row for the
that's funny.
Texas Roadhouse line dancing competitions.
yeah, they just play like in the middle of dinner, like
Yeah.
they'll throw on like
Yeah.
Cotton Eye Joe or something.
Yeah, and then
hop
just
up
right in the aisleway,
Yeah.
right next to everybody, you're sitting there doing line dancing.
on the hour. Is it like
Yeah.
on the hour?
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much?
like every 45 minutes, I think, is what it
Yeah.
was.
They still do that?
Hell yeah. Not every Texas Roadhouse does it.
Text the wife right now. Make sure you're ready to go to dinner after this. For going to Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah. I've said it. They should probably pay me for how many times I've said it on the show.
I know.
Right?
Hey.
Yeah. Texas Roadhouse. Contact us about a sponsorship.
Yep.
Happy to share your story.
Free steaks for the guys' nights.
Yeah,
Right?
that sounds like a great idea. I could go into our meat eating competition.
Yeah. One of the craziest parts about running the kitchen there was I had to taste test all of our tequila mixes every day.
Oh wow.
So like I would walk in and start my day with drinking 8 different kinds of tequila and then a pint of beer. And I was only supposed to like taste test the beer, but I would drink the whole pint of beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Creating a whole nother addiction.
oh,
Right.
yeah. Well, you know,
God damn, I need to go to work today.
Quality control.
hey, I tell you what, man, it was crazy how in tune your taste buds can really get when you taste test the same thing all the time, and how you can break down like the honey mustard there has apple butter in it, and tell me you've ever had their honey mustard. You don't taste apple butter, right?
I don't know.
After 6 months of tasting it every day, you taste the freaking apple butter, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you can. It's really impressive, actually, and it makes sense to me why the training's 17 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that I could
'cause-
definitely see. I mean, if you're, I didn't realize they cooked everything from scratch and did all that stuff. That's
Yeah,
pretty
the
cool.
only thing in the whole building that we didn't do in the building was our barbecue sauce.
Oh really?
Yeah,
brought
and
that in.
Texas Roadhouse still made it. They just mass produced it in a
Makes
factory.
sense,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, but
Surprised they don't mass produce their butter.
so
think.
we would get 120, 150 pounds of butter in, and then mix it in our mixer there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the garlic butter and things like that. Mix 30, 60 pounds at a time.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, we got off subject again.
Yeah.
Let's do the weave, Donald
All
Trump.
roads, all roads lead back to cinnamon butter.
So the divorce though, that's where we were getting
Yeah.
to. So the divorce happened. It started a little over 2 years ago, and it became official in 2024. Last year in March, it became official legally. I was divorced.
So when everything was going so well, and obviously she's willing to live in a hotel with you and do all that,
Yeah.
this must have been right after that.
Yeah, pretty much. It was right after. So COVID happened while I was working at Texas Roadhouse. Me and my boss ended up. I had a habit of like telling my bosses to go fuck themselves for a long time. So it probably had to do with like the drug addiction and things like that, but it carried on past the drug addiction for a while.
Yeah.
So it he was an ex-Marine, and I didn't like his approach to how he dealt with me. And so it ended up, he was like, by the end of it, it got weird. He was following me into the bathroom and doing like weird things to make sure I wasn't smoking on the premises. And like, you know, it got weird. So I left one day. And so when I did that, we moved back in with my mother. She had some health issues at the time, and it worked out. So I started running I started working at the Walmart distribution center then. It was right after Texas Roadhouse. And I worked there for about 1.5 years. And while I worked there, I was going to school full time still and finishing up the coding boot camp, right? And during that time frame, my wife was dealing with a lot of still dealing with postpartum depression 2.5 years later, that, you know, she ballooned up and gained a bunch of weight, and that caused more depression after her. And, you know, it drove a wedge, my coming off of drugs and things like that. And, you know, she was riding with me, but it drove a wedge, right? All the things that we went through together. And so we just decided that it was best if we were friends instead of together anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. How often do you get to see your daughter?
I have her 4 days a week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that works out well.
Yeah, we do
You guys still have that
50-50.
relationship.
Yeah, I get her on usually on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then I keep her until Wednesday. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, she's beautiful. She's 6 years old now, and
Oh, they're
her
so
name's
sweet and innocent at 6 years old.
Oh well, she's getting pretty manipulative, man. She knows how to tug at my heartstrings, and,
Oh,
you
well.
know, play with my emotions a little bit now. So
Worst part about divorced parents and putting your daughter or any kid through a divorce is that it's like the first skill they learn.
yeah,
Like
it's
how to manipulate each other, and it's not even through it's actually the parents' fault, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because it's hard to like not have your kid with you every day.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, you get to halfway.
Yeah.
In Ohio, they just assume that, you know what, mom doesn't work, so she should get the kid all the time.
Yeah.
Dad, who might be provide a better stable household, might provide her
It's
with
a mother
better
state.
discipline. It doesn't matter. It's going to
Right.
the mom. So
Right.
here you are and so you get your one weekend every other month or every other week,
Right.
and you get
Which
your one night a week.
My brother, he went through a divorce a year before me, which is one of the reasons we were going to start a podcast, and something kind of like this actually, and that's how we ended up talking about the coaching and stuff like that. And then I started going through my certification program, stuff like that, while he was going through his divorce.
Yeah.
And then so I was going to certification programs online, and then also doing the coding boot camp and working full time.
Sure.
So, 18 to 20 hours a day, I was busy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that right there will drive a wedge through a relationship. pretty
Yeah.
quick, too.
But going back to the kid though, it's like, they're at the point where like, as a father, you're like, I wish I could spend more time with them, and you do things a little bit differently. And then if you have too much, it's just, and then the parents go back and forth about why it's better at my house than the other person's house.
Yeah.
Then the other parents start to date somebody else, and
Yes.
everybody wants that family. They don't want to have a broken family. So then it's like, stay with our family more often, and we'll do. It's crazy how it screws kids up. It sucks that it's so young. Hopefully, you guys can maintain a good friendship, and I wish you guys the best of luck, and your daughter the best of luck, because
thank you.
that's
Thank
tough to do.
you. At first, we were not friendly.
Yeah,
Right.
well, of course.
It
it's
was
hard to go through that. There's
Yeah,
probably some
a lot of-
jealousy and
a lot of high emotions. You know what I mean? And I started dating pretty quick, but I didn't introduce my daughter right away.
yeah.
I actually have my lady with me today.
Yeah, how long you guys been together?
We've been together officially a little over a year now.
So you guys had a talking stage?
Yeah, she actually.
I just learned about this last night.
So-
My daughter shared it with me. I didn't realize adults still went through a talking stage, so that's why I made the joke. But
yeah, I mean, yeah.
there's like
we'll
the talking
say that.
stage, the hookup stage, the talking
So
hookup stage.
she
and
worked
then-
she worked for me. I ran an IHOP for a short period of time,
all right.
and
Yeah, jack of all trades, dude.
I ran gas stations for like 7 years when I was younger. I worked at a lumber yard when I was younger, a sawmill. I've done all sorts of stuff. I used to throw transmissions for Chrysler.
Yeah.
They would literally deliver them to our warehouse. We would lift them up out of this rack by hand and put them in this rack that was identical over here. And then when they wanted us to ship them out, we would lift them out of that rack here and put them in an identical rack over here, and then put it in a truck.
They paid somebody for that.
Yeah.
And you wonder why the big three need bailouts.
Yeah.
That is some crazy shit. I mean, I hear some of it too. One of our buddies is an engineer with Ford and heads over the engineering team and stuff. And like some of the stuff that they do is just like,
Well,
Yeah,
for Tesla, there's a job for Tesla that you just drive a car to get it charged and drive it back
Yeah.
for $18 an hour.
Yeah. Yep.
Just drive. That's all you do all day. You just
I drove a
sit in the-
Tesla for about a year.
Yeah, you just drive
you don't
it
even
and
have to-
charge it.
You don't even have to drive it. It drives itself. So basically you get paid to be on your cell phone
Yeah.
and sit in a car.
pretty
Pretty
Like,
much.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tesla, go to
much.
the gas station and charge
Yeah.
up. All right.
Yep.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, right.
I got yelled at one time. I was sitting at a gas pump, talking to my girlfriend now on the phone, and I'm in the Tesla, right? And I'm sitting at the gas pump, and this woman is behind me honking, right? Like, and I don't even notice that she's honking at me, because I'm like, I'm just sitting at the pump. Why would anybody be honking at me? Well, this woman ends up cussing me out. Because she continues talking, I was like, okay, that she's clearly honking at me now, right? Like I get it now, right? So I pull away, and she gets out of her car. She starts cussing me out, and I'm like, why? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, how was I bothering you? I was having lunch and talking to my girlfriend. Well, you don't even need to be at the pump, and
yeah.
Oh man, it was a whole thing.
It's always the whole thing. People
yeah.
it's so amazing me that people walk around so angry that they have to like point out like little flaws. And,
Yeah,
you know, it's
she's like,
nothing.
you're taking up a whole pump with a car that doesn't even need gas. And
You
it's like,
could have
there's
been
8,
filling up the cans for your mower.
right? Or like having lunch.
Yeah, or
You know what I mean?
or you know what? I get it, but is there any other pumps that are open? Just deal
Well,
with it.
apparently the 12 other pumps were full at the time.
Oh,
Right, and I'm sitting there in the middle of this
Oh, you are an
busy
asshole
time.
then.
Yeah, I mean a little bit, a little bit.
It wasn't a Buc-ee's with 97 other pumps open.
Yeah, no, there was only like 14 in this place,
Oh,
right?
that's funny.
Yeah, but,
that's the kind of shit that drives me. That's like if like the light turns green and like you see it turn green, you just
Right.
haven't quite put your foot on the gas.
And somebody's
yet.
already honking
And
on you.
somebody
Yeah.
honks. All I want to do is fucking put that thing in reverse and fucking just back right into
Yeah.
it.
Yep. Well,
yep.
so remember the lights, like in Iceland, they're the same all over most of Europe, where like they run backwards. So
Right.
like when it's red, it'll go to yellow and green. If it's yellow, you're not already accelerating and pulling away. Like they're honking, especially like most in Germany. Like they're on you. Like
I did not know that they worked backwards like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So does it jump from green to red?
No,
Or does it go back
No,
again?
so it cycles through, but like while you're sitting at a red light, when it's getting ready to turn green, it'll turn back to yellow,
Right.
and then it'll go green.
Right.
So
It's like,
you
hey,
know
you're about
it's-
to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a warning.
which is helpful over there because like 7/8 of the cars are manual. So you're sitting there, on your phone or whatever. Oh, you put the phone down, clutch
Right,
in,
yeah,
put
now
it
you
in
yeah.
gear,
shift
and,
back into
and
gear
go.
and get going,
but,
right?
yeah.
but it's the same there. But like, as soon as it goes to yellow, like people are like already gunning to go. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even green yet.
So
Yeah.
funny. I can imagine that in Germany specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Iceland, I feel like was pretty laid back. I don't remember anybody honking at me in Iceland.
So when did you guys go to these places? In the military?
So no,
No, we
traveled.
go travel.
We traveled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we traveled to Iceland last summer.
So
It didn't feel like summer because it was
May.
literally like it was
It's
outside.
freaking
Yeah.
freezing.
Yeah. So
Um,
isn't Iceland green and Greenland covered in ice? Isn't
Yes.
that how that works?
Yeah, but
it's
when
what's
we were
colder.
there, they had like a and it. I mean, yeah,
They had a storm.
Yes, and-
They had a rare storm when we were in Iceland.
Okay.
Because we drove at one side. We started at what is it, Reykjavik the first, and then at the end we drove to what's the
I forget. I always say the name of it, but
It's-
it was
it's
up in northern. Either way,
yeah, we had to drive through the mountains.
Yeah, and it was all closed for a day because they had like a random out of nowhere ice storm that shut down the whole country for a day. It was insane.
Yeah.
That's
But like, there's
crazy.
warm weather out there is like 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In July, we were there. It was like 50 and
Yeah.
80-mile-an-hour winds with gusts up to like 120
Holy
at any
cow.
point in time during the day.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
That's kind of crazy.
But yeah, every year we try to do something. My wife and I have always traveled. Like we did a summer in Europe year before, and then the year before that we did Greece for a month. But this year I think we're all going together and we're gonna do Scotland and Ireland.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
my family like originally is Scottish and Welsh.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've
That's
always kind of
awesome.
wanted to go there.
Yeah, I got Scotland name, so I want to take advantage of being able to go out there and see it. But it's one of those things like you don't realize until you're older. So I'm 42 now. I wish I would have known how inexpensive it was to travel, especially in Europe, versus anywhere else. Because
Well,
once you're there, you can essentially fly to every country you want to go to for $30.
Right. Yeah, you could literally cover
Or you can
all
catch
the
a
European
train,
countries.
or you can catch a
Yeah,
train for
yeah.
$20. Like
Yeah.
there's all kinds of options to travel over there. It's very inexpensive. Food can get expensive if you're eating in places like London and Paris and
right, the
Yeah.
really nice
Milan and
upscale
stuff like that.
restaurants. Yeah.
well, not even that. It's just you're in a tourist area.
Yeah, fair enough.
But for the most part, like you can find something cheap to
Well,
eat everywhere. It depends on how picky your wife is.
It's actually more expensive. yeah, well, that's true.
Got her.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Well, it's more expensive to travel in the U.S. than it is to travel in Europe
Yeah.
right now. It's
Oh, yeah,
ridiculous.
it's so much
It's
more.
Like
it's
traveling
retarded.
from country to country there is like traveling from state to state here, right?
It's
it's
cheaper.
cheaper.
Than that
Yeah,
because like
it's
really-
I'm telling you, I could be in Italy and I could catch a $30 flight to Greece.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That'd be like you catching a $30 flight from Indianapolis to Cleveland. That'll never happen.
Yeah,
right,
when-
yeah, not gonna
It'll
happen.
be no cheaper than $100, whatever.
When
round
I was
trip.
when I was in Japan, me and my friends were looking at like flying to like the Philippines from Japan. It was
Yeah.
like $150.
And that's not a short flight.
No, it was like a 3.5, 4 hour flight.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's $150. 150 whatever money it was that, but in the U.S. it was like $150.
Right, yeah.
The other thing is too is hospitality is different over there.
Oh,
like if
yeah.
you're, let's say you go to a Marriott hotel in some podunk town and there's 2 cars there,
Yeah.
it's still $120 a night,
Right.
or 180 depending
Right,
on how
yeah.
nice the Marriott is, right?
Yeah.
Since we went to Greece, we went there the last 2 weeks of May, or I'm sorry, the last 2 weeks of April, which was right before their tourist season technically starts. So if the hotel rooms have space available and it's not tourist season, like we were staying in 5-star places for 20 and 30 euros a night.
Really?
Yeah, easily. So like
They're
I was
like, yeah, man, the room's not filled anyway. Might as well.
Well, and they set it up that way. So like I would literally we would go from island to island, and I wouldn't book the hotels until we were getting there.
Right,
And then
yeah.
we would find a spot, $20 for the night, $30 for the night. Like we splurged when we were in Santorini. We were on the very very top.
Like penthouse level.
overlooking the Caldera. We had our private pool, private hot tub on our back deck, and I paid like 200 euros a night for that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then like it was funny because we looked it up in like July or August, and it was like 2,200 euros.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So-
During their tourist time.
And all the menus in Greece and in Italy are, well, not all Italy, but a lot of Italy are dry erase.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
like they just change the prices on everything when it becomes tourist season. So like you go and eat pasta at a place in Greece in a really nice restaurant, it'll be like 6 euros.
Right.
If you come back in June, that'll be like 26 euros.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
crazy.
which is good for them, dude. For supply and
Yeah,
demand.
absolutely.
And on top of that, like, I mean, we stayed there for 21 or 22 days. And I think I spent $5,000 for me, my wife, flights,
That's
hotels,
impressive.
everything.
That's impressive.
I couldn't
Yeah.
live anywhere in the United States. I couldn't go visit for a month and spend less than $5,000.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know what I mean? By the time
Yeah.
you rent a place and do all that. So it's a good experience. So we try and keep doing that.
I read something one time. It said that you could fly to Spain, have a hip replacement done, live there for the recovery period, and fly back cheaper than you could have a hip replacement here.
I believe
100% true.
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
there's
I'm
a
not-
term for people that travel from for surgeries and surgeries.
Oh,
and
I know what you're
things.
talking about.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. There's a term for it because there's like you go to like what is it called? Not Ukraine, but like Belgium, and you get like your bottom teeth replaced.
Yeah.
For like under like $1,000.
Yeah.
Instead,
Medical tourism.
Yep, medical
Tourism.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Commonly used to describe international travel for the purpose of receiving medical care.
Yeah, it's some people can literally take a vacation, get something done, and travel
Yeah.
while they're getting something done.
Yeah.
and then come back to U.S. and
Yeah.
it's cheaper.
We need to find out where in Europe they're doing the boob jobs, and that'll be our next trip. Is we will go there and stay there until we don't have $5,000 anymore.
I feel like there's a factory in Ukraine that just puts all of its women through them. Like you just stand up and go through there, and then it puts you on the website, and then they sell you to some unexpected American.
Yes.
And then ship you to Evan's house.
Funny story. We joked about mail order brides the other
Yes,
night.
you did.
I don't remember his name. It doesn't matter his name. It's a client of my wife's that went to the barber shop, but he had a mail order bride. And,
Did he really?
Hold on. So this is a funny thing. So she's telling me some of the stories he shares, and one of them was like 2 weeks after she got here, he came home and she wasn't home, and she was like out on a street corner somewhere.
Oh, what?
In like the development,
Right.
trying to like go make some extra bucks.
Wow.
Oh, man. I mean,
I was like, you can take the Russian, you can take the girl out of the Russian, but you can't take the Russian out of the girl.
no
bro.
doubt. No doubt.
Like,
Oh my
man.
God, it's
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
insane.
you know.
Well, when I was in Hamburg, Germany, a few years ago, it's kind of like that. Like literally, the women are not shy about making money, and they're not shy about showing their assets. That's for sure.
Yeah. So my mom, she married a man from Morocco, and so they were married for 14 years. And so my mom's done some traveling in Europe, and she's been to Spain. She's been obviously to Morocco, Amsterdam, and a couple other places.
Yeah.
Right. The only place I've been outside of the country is Jamaica.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
which-
the same.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, it's great. I mean,
It was fantastic.
it's like going to
The-
Cancun or something like that. It's a good time.
The
I'm sure.
rum was fantastic, and the beach was fantastic. I thought it was crazy that every day we were in Montego Bay. It was for honeymoon. We did 7 days there on Sandals Resort, and so every day, we'd wake up and we're 8 strawberry daiquiris in by lunch, right? Because it's all inclusive, right?
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah, man.
yeah, I'm 4 meals and 8 daiquiris in, and it's 12 o'clock, right? And so about 3 o'clock every day, though, it gets to be like almost unbearably hot, right? And then for 30 minutes, a rainstorm comes in, cools off the entire island, and then from 4 o'clock, like 3:30 to 4, it rains, and then 4 o'clock, you wake up from your 45-minute nap because, like I said, you're 8 daiquiris and 4 meals in. You're taking a nap, right? And so we would take a nap while the rain happened, come back out, and I was worried that it was going to be like super muggy and like sticky, and it wasn't. All it did was cool it off and make it perfect again.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
I mean,
it's,
everybody's got their niche on these places,
Yeah.
but I do highly recommend to anybody out there, like if you're not traveling the world, you're not seeing stuff, like you're wasting your time. Because for the amount of times I had $100 or $200 bar tab or a restaurant bill, I mean, we just went to that restaurant the other day in Strongsville.
Oh,
a couple of drinks, couple of desserts, couple of appetizers, and you're $220 in, $240 in with tip. And I'm like, man, if I was a single guy, instead of taking a woman here and spending $220 on dinner, I'd catch me a couple $100 flight overseas with a backpack and just live in hostels for €8-9 a night if I had to.
Yeah.
And just travel the city and just hang out. Like,
so my ex-wife, her family, like her dad traveled all the time for business, and so they're full-blooded Italian, and they decided they were going to take a trip to Italy, and they ended up just living in Italy for 9 months.
yeah.
And you know, here in about a month, actually, for spring break for school, my ex-wife is taking my daughter to Cancun, or not Cancun, Costa Rica.
Okay.
With her dad and
That's
her
cool.
sister and their
My daughter
kids.
just asked me. I told my daughter for her 16th birthday I'd take her anywhere, and she wants to go to Costa Rica. I was
Yeah.
like,
Really, Costa Rica?
yeah, it's like out of all the places. Well, she was originally she was like, we can go to Hawaii, and I was like, I've already been to Hawaii. I'm gonna take you out of the country. You didn't go to Iceland last year, and I was like, you're 16. I don't need your mom's permission to get your passport anymore. So let's go get your passport and let's go see somewhere you've never been. She's like, let's go to Costa Rica. I was like, hang with some monkeys, dude. Let's go. I can do that, you know?
Yeah. So
But,
yeah, she gets to. It's gonna be her first time out of the country.
Yeah, that'll be
You know,
awesome.
she's 6. She gets to go to Costa Rica. I'm pretty excited. It was weird having to say I was okay with my daughter leaving the country, but like, what kind of dick would I be if I was like, no, you don't get to go to Costa Rica with your mom. You know what I mean? And your grandpa and your aunt, your cousins. Yeah, the good luck looking good on the other side of that when you say no.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, and here's the thing. the
Unless
parents
there's a
out-
legitimate problem with it.
Right, and that's the
And-
thing.
and
Most
there's not,
parents are
you know
doing
what I
it.
mean?
Most parents are saying no out of jealousy. Like,
Right.
I've been trying to get
Yes.
my daughter's passport for the last 3 years. I mean, I'm sorry. It's great that you're gonna, go on your things, and that's fine. Like, I don't shit on them for the times they take her out, whether
Right,
it's to
yeah.
go to North Carolina or whatever, or Virginia Beach. Like, that's your thing. I like to
Yeah.
go outside of the country. I should be able to. My daughter's here. She's 16. She's missed trips to Switzerland, France, London, Iceland, Greece.
Yes,
Multiple
she could have
trips
seen
to
the world.
Hawaii. Like, she could
Literally.
have, and it would change your whole perspective on life. 'Cause
Yeah.
once you're over in these different places, like just the way that people live, just the way that people talk, communicate. You go to restaurants, everybody's dressed up. If everybody's eating and talking, and everybody's
It's-
welcoming,
it's a-
and
it's
it's
actually
like a community.
social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like these are things that she should be like experiencing in life because it could help her develop. Better traits longer down the road rather than
Absolutely.
being over here where you could have 5 of your friends sleep over and they're all 5 sitting in the same bedroom
Not
on
talking.
their phones,
Not
not
talking.
talking. It's
Yeah.
like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Go-
you could have just
go do something.
You could have been at home and done the exact same thing.
right.
Right? Yeah.
But all right, so let's get back in this because
Yeah, we're
we'll
running
wrap it
long,
up
aren't
soon.
we?
That's okay. We're fine.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to you about the software consulting. You're doing that. You're going through this
Yeah.
divorce at the same point in time, and
Yeah.
then you decide you're going to become a coach.
Yeah.
Which
so
I
in
gotta
the
be-
middle of my
as I'm
divorce.
hearing this, I'm like, what is this guy going to coach? Because you got all this shit going wrong for you, but hopefully that's made you a lot stronger in the meantime.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really showed me how to hone in on how much your mindset really affects the outside world and what you're dealing with and how to approach different situations and maintain a level head through it, maintain your mental fortitude, your strength in times where most people are at their lowest. You know what I mean? There were several times through the withdrawals and things like that where I was suicidal. You know what I mean? It never came close to actually doing it, but there are definitely suicidal thoughts in the middle of that because of how down I was. And then going through the divorce, blaming myself for everything that ever could have happened and all the pain my daughter was about to go through. And, and then, about 4 months after the divorce was actually final, which the divorce process took 5 or 6 months, which at first it was ugly, like I said, but then it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
By the end of it, we agreed upon everything. We didn't even have to actually have a court date. We signed our papers, and we actually celebrated the day of together with my new girlfriend and my ex-wife. So it's
All right.
So it was amazing the transition in myself going through the coaching certifications that I went through. Everybody says that you're going to be your first client when you go through these programs, and I went through another bout of depression because of digging up all the shit that I have to deal with in myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I had to deal with all that stuff before I could show somebody else how to deal with that stuff. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's where the transformation between 2 years ago me and now is unreal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. To the point where me and my ex-wife could be friendly. You know what I mean? We can sit in the same room. We don't argue. We don't fight over our daughter. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like that to begin with before I started all these certification programs and learning these different things. So so now I try to help men build their confidence up, erase those limiting beliefs. Like I said, you know, especially when you get down on yourself or you beat yourself up a lot, that kind of thing. Negative self-talk is unreal. There's a study done that I found while I was in college that says one negative thought is 10 times stronger than a positive thought. Okay. And then when you speak something out loud, it becomes 7 times more powerful than if it's just a thought, right? And so what that tells me is that if you have negative self-talk out loud, it's 70 times stronger than a positive thought about yourself. And so just eliminating that in itself is a huge thing in changing people's mindsets and, the way they approach their life.
So are you doing this full time now?
I do. I have a part-time gig on the side. I deliver a local paper.
Okay.
But it's my full-time job.
So you work out of an office? You work from home?
I work from home.
Mobile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're local enough for me to meet in person, I do that. And if not, if you're like, I have people from Africa, Europe, other states that I've worked with, where I just do Zoom meetings with them. And I send materials, obviously. I have checklists and mind maps, that kind of stuff.
Where do the people find out about you and stuff like that? Is it still in that Phoenix Consulting, or is it something?
No,
separate?
yeah. So me and my brother, after the house burned down, right? The arsonist came in my back door, threw a Molotov cocktail, and left. And so after that,
Only in Indiana.
oh man, it's
Wow.
great. He's actually about to go. His trial starts this month, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you said this was like a whole string of these he did.
Yeah, he like to say. I think he lit like 12 to 14 garages on fire, like 6 vehicles and 2 houses in a matter of 3 days.
So just a
and he lit.
Busy guy.
serial arsonist,
It-
not
yeah.
like it wasn't targeted.
No,
directly at you.
we have no connection to this guy whatsoever. Yeah, he was mad at his girlfriend and said, "Let me in the house. If you don't, I'll burn this whole place down." And he started lighting the town on fire.
Was she redhead?
I do not know. Probably. All right. But yeah, you said the ex was the crazy redhead, right? Yeah.
One of them, yeah.
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 So now my company, he went off and started focusing on his software, right, instead of the coaching.
Yeah.
And I went off and started focusing on my own coaching business here.
So
and,
you guys kind of gave up on the idea of doing this company together under.
yeah, the stress of the fire. Me, my daughter, my girlfriend, my mom, and 2 of my friends all lived on the property.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it upset a lot.
Is
Is this your guy?
No, actually, but that's a funny picture though. I'm not gonna lie. I was on the news 3 different times because of the fire.
Well, this is a new one here. Another copycat.
August 10th, Kokomo, Indiana,
Got it.
arsonist. Yeah, his name is Joseph Smith. Actually, I think is what his name is. It's like the most generic name I've
Wait,
heard.
the Mormon?
That guy? So was this a house you were renting, or were you buying?
No,
this
my
house?
mom owned this house.
Oh, this is your mom's house.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
shit.
So, me, my girlfriend, my daughter, and there was an apartment in the garage where 2 of my friends lived, and then my mother lived there as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we lost 4 pets and just basically everything we
Oh,
owned.
that's terrible.
Yeah. So like the worst day of my life ever was having to look at my 5-year-old and say, "Hey, we not only do we not get to go home, but you have nothing of yours that was
Yeah.
at my house. We have none of our pets, and all of your paintings that you do, because she's a little artist, right?
Yeah.
So I had walls and walls covered in all of her art, all of it burnt, right? So, looking at my 5-year-old and telling her all that was probably the worst thing that's ever happened in my
Yeah,
life.
that's awful. I can't.
So
a kid
I-
doesn't understand.
Yeah, and so like still, she had 2 guinea pigs at the time, and so like still to this day, you know, it's been 6 months, give or take, maybe a little bit more now because it was August. But still to this day, she'll look at me and say, you know, Dad, I miss my guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever owned guinea pigs, but they do this like kind of sound, and so she'll go around the house sometimes making that sound because she misses them.
Man.
Oh my god, man, it makes me want to cry every time it happens. Yeah, so
Well, now that's like trauma bonding too for kids.
Yeah.
You know, where when they're really young, a pet is like their
yeah, it's their people. You know
yeah.
what
It's
I mean?
like where
blanket.
it is. It's a blanket.
yeah,
blanket for
and
them.
yeah, I mean, we
So
just
to
went
lose
through the
that
divorce.
while going through the divorce.
While going through the divorce, then the house burns down, right? Yeah, I mean, it's just it's. I feel terrible for my daughter for the last year.
So let me ask you this:
But-
is she seeing any kind of counseling or anything like that? Is that something that you and your wife agree would be good for? Or?
Because my ex-wife, she is trained in some mental health stuff as well. She works with autistic kids. That's a new thing she's doing. So she's trained in some techniques, and then of course through my training, I've learned a lot about how people work and things like that. We've discussed letting her talk to somebody else because it is different than talking to your parent.
Way different.
You know what I mean? You're able to. I'm proud of the relationship that I have with my daughter because we're really open, we're really honest. I mean, to the point where like I don't hide anything from her.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, some people might think, you know, a 6-year-old doesn't need to know exactly that this arsonist came in, burnt your house down, and you know. But I told her exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Because I don't want her to think that there's just some boogeyman out there that's going to burn our house down.
Yeah,
randomly.
of course.
You know what I mean? So, you know, things like that. I talked to her when she's struggling. You know what I mean? And the Red Cross reached out and said that they would give her free, you know, help if we wanted it. I've talked to my ex-wife about it, but she handles it like a champ, man. I'm not gonna lie. She's like the most emotionally intelligent child I've ever met in my life.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so you know, she's kind of my rock sometimes. You know, through some of this stuff, I struggled. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of trauma in the last year and a half or 2 years. You know, I think that if I wouldn't have went through the coaching certifications I did, I wouldn't have came out on this side of things as good as I am.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So where I think I asked, where do people go to find a life coach?
So yeah, I have a website online. My company is called Rise Above Mindset Coaching and Transformation.
A mouthful.
It really
Rise
is. When I signed up for the
Above.
domain, it was crazy.
What is it? Rise above what?
Yeah, Rise Above dash. Oh yeah, it's intense. Rise Above Mindset Coaching and Transformation.com. I can send it to you. It'll help. So I actually have a man working with me right now on redeveloping it because it's not the greatest site right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have a new funnel that I just had built, which I can share the link for that too. It's for my new webinars. I do a webinar series now. Right now it's on self-discipline.
I guess Rise Above Coaching, rise.above.coaching. Is this you guys on Facebook or Instagram or no?
No.
No, that's not you.
Yeah, here I can
Ignore
actually send you the link right now. if
Ignore
you
them.
want.
That's not what we're doing.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
I see your website though. You guys actually came up pretty quick. That's pretty surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like there's a whole lot on it. But is that where your clients are finding you, or is there like a?
Facebook is really where people find me.
Gotcha.
So I have like 5,037 followers at the moment, something like that. I started in August with less than 2,000 people,
Wow.
and so I've grown it, you know, quite a bit.
Yeah.
My average views when I'm actually posting and doing videos, that kind of thing, anywhere between 50 and 70,000 views in a month.
That's
you know what I mean?
fantastic, man.
Yeah, just about every reel or video that I put out within a week's time, 1,000 people have viewed it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
great.
yeah, it's there's some good stuff on there. I worked with, and I'm still currently working with 2 coaches from Australia, and they've been in the NLP game for 22 years now. So which is exactly what I do. It's really interesting work, right? And so I've developed a 90-day program where within 90 days, you're going to see and be able to measure a difference in your life, in your confidence levels, your ability to communicate more effectively, and your ability to set and meet goals in your life.
So what is that? Hold on a second. I'm gonna take a leak real quick.
No, yeah,
We'll
you're
be
good.
right back.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that, guys.
You're
No,
good.
yeah, you're good.
All right. So I've said we got about 20 more minutes here.
Okay, yeah.
Give or take. Let's dive down into the coaching aspect. So your clients come into you for a multitude of different things. What are some
Yeah.
examples of things that you're able to do to help them get back on track and such?
Yeah. Here, I've actually wrote some notes. I came
Yeah,
a
that's
little
fine.
prepared here.
Perfect.
Yeah. So let me pull some stuff up here. So the main program I do is on self-discipline, right? So I actually wrote a book on it. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've written about 6 different books.
Wow.
That
Publish
yeah.
any of these or?
So they're just free giveaways for some of my courses. Some of them I'm going to we're redoing my website right now. They're going to be on there as part of my programs.
Mhm.
I have 10 different courses I've created, ranging from like how to use AI to build a business, up to charisma training, communication training, self-discipline training. I have one course on it's called Supercharged Productivity. I wrote a book on productivity and how to really start getting better results out of the work you put in.
Mhm.
So really, what I do is I have worksheets or workbooks that they go along with the cognitive behavioral therapy. It retrains your brain to start thinking about situations a certain way, or change your patterns in your neural pathways.
So do you have an example of like something what that might be or like what that might be?
Yeah. So like changing, a bad habit, right? Say you regularly sit down, and when you have your movie night with your significant other, you snack like crazy, right? And you're trying to change that behavior, right? So what I do is show you ways to, first of all, you can't break a habit; you have to replace a habit, right? And the easiest way to replace a habit is to attach it to another habit that you already have, right? So
Right, habit stacking.
yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. So I teach people how to do that.
Okay.
So say you want to start going to the gym. One way to do it. A lot of people are like, well, I got to figure out what time I want to go, do this and that. Set your gym clothes out the night before, and that way, as soon as you wake up, you open your eyes, and instead of putting on, whatever you're going to wear for the day, now you're putting on your gym, your gym clothes, and that's attaching it to your morning routine. You know what I mean? So that's one way to instill a new habit. Instead of waking up and say just drinking your coffee and reading your newspaper or what have you, now you're in your gym clothes or you're going for a run or what have you. Put your running shoes next to your bed, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
It's very practical stuff that I teach people, but you'd be surprised how many people don't know how to do those things. So I've actually
I
got
wouldn't
some.
be that surprised actually.
Yeah, right. Yeah, here we go. Some of these, I actually wrote down examples. The Stanford marshmallow experiment. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
Okay, so it was where they set one marshmallow in front of a kid and said, "I'll be right back." Okay, don't eat that marshmallow. Right? If you don't eat that marshmallow, I'll give you a second marshmallow you can have when I get back. Right. And so they would disappear, and 9 times out of 10, the kid would reach out and grab that marshmallow and eat it. Right. Because the short-term reward seemed,
Yeah.
instant gratification. Right. Well, the idea was to teach these kids that if you just sit and wait, you end up getting more out of the result. Right. So same thing in your life, you know what I mean? Instead of taking on, oh, hey, this donut sounds really good right now. It shows you how to use, that instant gratification and set it to the side, and start focusing on long-term goals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So you have how many? You've been doing this full time now for how long?
Full time. Me and my brother started the first business, not this January, but the January before.
Okay.
And so a little over a year, I've been doing it pretty much full time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So,
are you finding where did you go for your degree, or not for your degree, but your certifications in this?
so one guy that I learned from, his name is David Keys.
Uh-huh.
He's been doing it for 30 plus years.
So they have like their own certification program?
There's like so he was the guy who I got NLP certified through and
Okay.
hypnotherapy certified through. There's a curriculum that you have to go through, no matter who's running the program.
Right.
There's a set curriculum that you go through for that. Now, the life coaching program that I went through is a guy from the UK. His name is Ed. I can't think of his last name right now. It's been 3-4 years ago. I could pull it up. But so he actually gave out. He usually had a course. He charged people $5,000 to be certified through him. He turned it into
That's a lot of fucking money.
yeah. Well, I mean, I charge $5,000 for a 90-day program.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
So
Jesus.
yeah,
That's in the wrong fucking business.
there's money to be had.
Guys Night Podcast is
Yeah.
now diversifying. Welcome to Guys Night Life Coaching Experience.
Yeah,
We're gonna
so,
tell you how
like,
to fuck up.
Yeah. So the two coaches that I work with, one of them's been doing it for 22 years. He travels the world. He's actually a sales trainer, an international sales trainer, and he does it with NLP techniques, right? Which is the cadence of your voice, the tone of your voice, all that stuff plays into how people react to what you're saying, right? Building rapport with people. It's amazing what you can do sitting in a room with somebody talking face to face. You can actually get it to where people will mirror your body language and mirror your tone of voice, mirror your excitement, just by building, 5 minutes of rapport with somebody.
True.
So,
That's
that's
like it goes back to like other things too. Like, if you want somebody to say yes, nod your head ahead of time. If you want
Oh
somebody,
yeah, I mean,
there's
it's
so many different
unbelievable.
tricks to it.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable how in depth it really gets. The certification program I'm going through right now, I'm certified as a practitioner in NLP, right? Which is like I can actually take phobias and erase them from you in a matter of about 15 minutes of working with.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's different techniques to where you have to build that rapport with somebody and then break into their subconscious for them and rewire it a little bit. So instead of just being able to teach people how to rewire their own brain, I can actually go in and do it for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many clients do you have currently?
Currently I have regularly for my webinars, I have anywhere between 6 and 14 people that show up for those right now. And I've worked with a total of 7 people over the last year on a regular basis, not just for a 90-day program.
Right.
And right now I've got 3 or 4 people in my 90-day program.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so I mean, it's great money, but it sounds like hopefully you're affecting some lives. Do you have these guys, come and speak on your behalf or anything like that? Do you guys?
So I've got some written testimonials. A lot of people are scared to be on camera, man.
Really?
Yeah. I don't understand it because I'm also in 2 TV shows and I'm filming my second movie right now too.
Oh, really?
That's another thing that I do on the side.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we're on Amazon Prime and Tubi. If you want to check that out.
Your TV show?
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
we've been watched in like 138 countries.
What's the name of your TV show?
It's called Canary Currency.
And this is something that you write, or this is something
So
that-
in Canary Currency, I'm just an actor.
Okay.
I play a gangster.
Sweet.
Actually. Yeah. And then it's it's B-level stuff. You
Yeah,
know
of
what
course.
I mean? But when you're
I mean, you're
funded,
still on Amazon Prime though.
yeah, and been viewed in 130 some countries. You know what I mean? Millions of
That's
minutes watched for that TV show. There's actually a spin-off they're doing right now. It's called Sean and Smoke, which is 2 characters from the show. And then me and my buddy, I actually have writing and directing under my belt for this second movie that we're doing right now. It's part 2 of a trilogy. It's a horror/comedy movie.
Sweet.
It's called Donovan Pike. It's also on Tubi and Amazon Prime as well.
Well, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
it sounds like we'll have to have you come back and talk a little bit
About
more
some
about
other
some of this stuff for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
The hypnotherapy thing's interesting.
yeah.
Can you make David bark like a?
No, I think I think we should have him hypnotize Evan.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a fan. I'm certified in it, right? but I don't really, I don't like to use it unless it's absolutely necessary.
Oh, this is necessary. Have you,
Oh
this
my
this
God.
man?
Evan's got diabetes, so we
Oh,
need
what
to
is
tell
the
Tell the
we
world,
mention
man.
that every show.
Yeah.
I know every show.
Usually we're talking about his
diabetes or my
alarm going off.
dyslexia. It's one of those.
Oh, wow.
Hypnotherapy,
Yeah.
hypnotherapy can help with a variety of conditions, including pain, phobias, sleep disorders, dyslexia,
Yeah,
erectile
bullshit.
dysfunction, Snickers addiction, and Tinder addiction.
And Tinder addiction.
There's
Yes.
a lot of them. I think you
There's-
just threw in.
It got
Dude,
very
that's crazy.
oddly specific at the
Yeah,
end.
exactly.
That's so
Yeah,
crazy.
there's
It's almost
like
like Evan has a
things.
couple of those
I
things.
know.
Yeah,
He
so
has Snickers.
He's got chronic pain in his finger from
Yeah, he's got
repetitive
carpal tunnel
motion.
from the swipe.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
retired. What is it called? Dick problems. So we're good on that
Oh
one.
yeah, the ED. You know,
Not
it's
yet, you
crazy
know.
how many ads I see for ED like pills. Like I don't know if you guys see them all the time or not, but
Well,
like my
Hims
Google.
is taking over the world.
Yeah,
Like
my
I don't know where they
Google-
came from, but
Yeah.
I just saw something the other day. Now they help with hair. Well, they probably always have it. It's like we help with hair loss. We help
Yeah.
with your fucking dick not working, and there's something else that
They do like
now.
antidepressants now and stuff
I'm
like that
sure.
too.
So it's just another
like it's a whole full blown like we'll take care of your mental, physical, and
I think that there's a certain amount of, and this is just conjecture at this point, but there's a certain amount of the meds that are pumped out there for behavioral shit that's
Yeah.
impacting
the rest of
it to
absolutely.
where it's like
Here's
it's
the
like
antidepressant
uppers and
now,
downers.
and now your
Right.
stuff doesn't work.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like
That's something that I faced when I was on antidepressants. That was something that drove a wedge between me and,
I believe
me and
it.
my woman.
Oh,
But it's
boy.
because like,
Yeah, it
you know,
kills your
I'm-
libido.
Well, I'm like 25, 26 years old and it's not showing up. That's not,
Right,
it
right.
makes a woman feel really bad about herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I couldn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? And that's another reason why I was just pissed off all the time when I was on them. Cause like, what's the point of life?
Well, it's not only
Yeah.
that, but too, it's like it's funny because like obviously the woman feels a certain way, and it's like
But I felt
But
much
it's more
worse
so
in my
like-
opinion. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Well, it's like hold on a second, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right. Yeah. Like it's literally like the one thing.
I'm the one failing here.
Right.
Mow
Yeah.
the lawn, fuck the girl.
Yeah.
And
That's literally like the thing we were made for was to just
Yeah.
continue to reproduce, right? And couldn't do
Mm.
it, man. So I totally agree with the fact that medications definitely are causing more of
all right,
those.
Evan, here we go. Bend over. Right, how does it start? I don't even know. He just closes his eyes.
well, the first step is you have to be willing.
Oh,
yeah.
I am not willing.
Yeah. So,
Time down. We'll change that.
Next
Yeah.
time we'll work on
yeah,
that.
we'll do that right at the beginning.
Yeah,
That way it's nice.
we'll
and
get him on some pills first,
yeah, there we
and
go.
then
Some lore tabs.
Yeah,
right?
some lore
some
tabs.
lore
Yeah.
tabs.
Knock my ass out before we do this or something.
Oh man. Well, we appreciate you coming on, driving all the way out here. Hopefully, this rewards you with some content that you can start spreading out there and telling more people about what you're doing. It sounds like you're trying to do a great thing, and
Yeah.
obviously you've gone through a bunch of different bumps in the road and things like that. And it's funny. I told David when you were coming on, I was like, I don't know what to think. Everybody's a life coach nowadays. Like you see
Yeah.
it all over. It's on Instagram. It's on.
It's definitely a flooded
Everybody,
market.
everybody has their own different version of it. I think I looked
Or
today.
views.
Yeah.
Views and opinions. There's a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's so much to it, like.
Everybody has a different approach to life.
yes.
Well,
know
and
what I
that's
mean?
the thing. Like when it comes to, that's why I asked how people find you. They can find you on Facebook and things like that, or hopefully, some of our listeners reach out.
Yeah,
if they have
absolutely.
interest or,
Yeah.
or questions. But when you're looking at a life coach, like what does a life coach expect? Like I don't mean any disrespect, but like
No, yeah.
I expect like a 50-year-old man who's like 6'4", dressed in a freak. It looks like Jordan Peterson. That's what I expect
Right.
a life
Yeah.
coach to look
That's how my coach looks.
Right.
Yeah,
So, and it's
absolutely.
like, but obviously everybody's different in a bunch of different, in so many different ways. And there's,
Now, when I show up for my professional,
Right.
I'm on the clock
Yeah.
kind of thing. I'm in a jacket and a nice shirt.
right.
You
And,
know what I mean?
and obviously everybody, and somebody's looking for something different. Like,
Yeah, believe it or not, in my in-person visits, I worked with a man for the last 8 months or so, and I would literally show up. We would work out together while we worked through his problems. You know what I mean? Because he's a physical trainer,
okay.
and he's certified in biomechanics.
Yeah.
and so he's actually doing great things now. He started working for a place down in Carmel. He's doing some collaboration down there, and really starting to help a lot of people. So I'm really proud of the work that he's doing right now. But I would show up in shorts and a t-shirt. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that worked for us. You know what I mean? But there's other people that I deal with where
Well,
if I didn't show up in my jacket and my,
Yeah,
my
they would
nice
think-
look, they would think that I didn't mean business, and that who am I?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's some 30-year-old punk that wants to be tatted up, have long hair, and tell me how to live my life.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm fully aware that there's that aspect of me
Yeah.
that doesn't fit the normal.
Yeah,
right?
but at the same point in time, there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of different things, and we all attach ourselves to what we consider successful or what we consider someone that we could share with.
Yeah.
And for the guy who doesn't have it all together, maybe Jordan Peterson look-alike is a little intimidating for me. I'm less
I was going to
likely
say that.
share.
Yeah.
The relatability.
Yeah, but
factor
where I can
is-
see, when I'm talking to you, I'm like, look, this is just a normal guy who went through a lot of the same shit, and he's, now he can speak to it in a sense of like, hey, this stuff can help you. And it's not like you're saying like my life's perfect. Like you still have bumps in the road every single
Absolutely.
day.
Yeah. I'm still struggling
That
with
you're
certain
using
things,
these same techniques on to help you.
Yeah.
So they work.
Yeah, absolutely. They've changed my life. You can ask anybody in my world. If before I leave, you can chat with my lady, and even in the time frame that I've been with her, I've grown in so many different ways.
Nice.
You know what I mean? The way I handle my child, the way I handle my mother and my brothers. You know what I mean? Everybody in my life is night and day.
I imagine it's a real symbiotic relationship there too. Like, so I'm a licensed helicopter pilot and I have been for years. What's interesting about that is when you learn to fly a
That you
helicopter,
don't fly a helicopter every day. That's what's interesting about that.
Yeah, I definitely would. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
if
feel
was-
like I would just
I would
drop
just-
everything
and
fly.
do that.
Yeah, I feel like I
at,
would. Yeah.
at an average of $650 per hour while those blades are spinning for a cheap helicopter. That's
That's how much it costs to run it.
to rent them. Yeah, it's a little
Oh, okay.
expensive, but
Yeah.
when you decide you want to learn to fly a helicopter, the person generally teaching you has been flying helicopters for maybe 2 years or so.
Oh,
like
right,
your,
yeah.
your initial flight instructors are brand new at it. So
Yeah.
you get licensed, you get a commercial ticket, you get an instruction ticket. The only job you're going to get is teaching people that know less than you how to fly.
Right. Yeah. All you
So-
got to do is know one step more than the person you're teaching.
That's really the
Yeah.
kind of the parallel thing that I was making there is that, yeah, you're, I guess, if you're running a race, you're teaching the persons who are behind you, right
Setting
behind
pace,
you.
kinda, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. If I know one technique that you haven't used in your life to try to change something for the better, and I give that to you and it works for you, that's all I needed to
all
know.
the value is
Yeah.
there.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
And the fact that I've been through so many different things and done so many different things in my life, I think that is, it kind of pushes some people away because, oh, hey, what kind of guy is he to listen to because he's done this or, what have you. But I tell you what, if you learn from your mistakes, I've made almost all of them.
Yeah.
Right. In some form or fashion. So I've learned a lot of lessons from it. And I've interacted with a lot of different people, successful people, living on the street, and anywhere in between, you know what I mean? Including the college atmosphere that I was a part of. I got to deal with, doctors and professors and things like that and pick their brain and have access to databases that, you don't have unless you're in a scholarly environment like that. So the mix between, just being a normal guy and the extensive training and education that I have, I think it's a very cool blend, and it makes me relatable, like you said, but also, approachable and knowledgeable at the same time.
Well, and
like
we said, it's just one step above, right? So if I'm currently an addict and I'm looking to get into recovery and just get a job, like you're like 5 steps above that. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like
yeah.
your life's transitioned like 5 times since the time. So you might be right where I need. Like you're the exact person I need. Like I said,
I'm
So-
not so far removed from it that
That
I
you
don't
don't-
remember what it's like.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like I talked about the intimidation factor is like somebody that you're talking to and trying to get help from, you can absolutely look at him like, yeah, dude, I'm sure you got it all together. Like you have a million reasons to have it all together, whether
Right,
it's like
yeah.
you come from family or whether it's this or that.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at, I'm a regular guy. I've got my shit together. This is how I figured out. I struggle with this. I struggle with that. And I still don't have everything together, but I'm learning, and I can teach you a few things to get you to the next step. And
Absolutely.
hopefully one day you can help somebody else get to that first step for them.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, it's kind of like AA in a sense. When we've got a couple of guys that come on the show regularly that are in the program and work the program, and you know, you don't go from like 1 to 12 overnight, and you can be a sponsor at any point from 1 to 12. So
Right, yeah.
you could be sponsoring somebody in step 1 while you're in step 4.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so I do think there's a lot of benefit to that, man. And I hope that it works out, and I hope you're helping a lot of
Yeah,
people, and I
thank
hope
you.
that you're helping yourself at the same point in time.
Absolutely,
and,
man.
you know,
I grow every day.
Yeah.
You know, and especially going through this new certification. Instead of being just a practitioner, I'm learning how to be a trainer.
Hell yeah.
So I can train other people how to show other people how to fix their problems.
Yeah. Last
You know what I
thing, do you work with other coaches for that are more powerful on like other aspects of whatever it is? Like maybe you're helping somebody take these first steps, but let's say that they have a very high business acute and they need somebody that specializes in that. Do you use these other guys that are in your team or in your
Yeah,
circle to
my
like,
network
say,
of
hey,
people.
I can't help you, but this guy can.
Absolutely. So when I first interact with a potential client, right, prospect, you know, whatever you want to call it, the first thing I do is I sit down and we have about an hour discussion about where you're at in life, what your goals are, where you want to go, what you've done in the past to get there, and what hasn't worked, what has worked. You know what I mean? And then I decide, and you decide with me if we're a good fit to work together. Or not, you know what I mean? And so there's been several times where I go, hey, I'm not the guy, but this guy right here is the guy. So go talk to him. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And so like the gentleman I was just talking about, the physical trainer, there's, you know, I recommend people to him all the time, and he was a client, you know what I mean? And so I don't just interact with them on a client basis. I become, you know, there's a fine line between professionalism and not, right? Yeah. But if I can help you by networking with a group of people, I don't see that as inappropriate at all.
I don't.
You know
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
that's what we're all about here is networking. You know.
Yeah, collaboration. I mean, it goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Anybody else got anything else?
No.
Man.
Anything you need to plug before we get out of here? Websites.
You can check out me on check me out on Facebook, Luke Morgan.
Okay.
Pretty standard.
Out of Indiana.
Yeah, out of Indiana, Kokomo, Indiana. My website, like I said, I'll share it with you.
I'll share the link in the description.
It's outrageously long
Definitely
when I set up the domain. I've got another one that I'm working on right now. It's just called LukeMorganCoaching.com.
Hey, that's
a lot better than the 18 syllables that I have right now. But
you lost me at WW.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was at HTTPS.
That's right. Remember that?
Right. Yeah. So there's that. You can find me on Instagram too. My handles on both of them are the real Luke B. Morgan.
Okay.
So you can check that out, Facebook and Instagram. I also, like I said, I have my website that I'll send the link, and then
send me the links to all your stuff in case I'm not able to find it. So
and my webinars are free. Cool. When you sign up, I can send you the link for that to have people sign up for them. Right now, I'm 2 episodes into my 7 episode series on self-discipline.
Cool.
So every 2 weeks I do another one. So you can sign up for that for free. You get a free copy of my self-discipline book when you sign up.
Awesome.
So that's something that I would like for people to check out as well.
Yeah, send us all the links. We'll put it all in the description. So, Evan, got anything else?
No, I got nothing else.
David?
No, appreciate you coming in,
Yeah,
buddy.
it was awesome coming.
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely.
Thank you very much for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
No,
Have a
dude, you
safe
made the
drive
drive,
home,
man.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
my ADHD brain got us there for a minute. Got sidetracked on
Yeah.
quite a few different
There you
topics.
go.
Oh,
There you
God,
go.
I miss Adderall. All right, Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Right?
Let it go.
Yeah.
I don't go into the ice sculptures tonight.
Well, that was before Texas Roadhouse
Ice
took over my brain.
sculptures. Yeah.
All right,
So
everybody.
where's the closest ice rink to here?
Strongsville, about 15 minutes.
Oh, it's really close.
Yeah, but on the way, like we have the Medina's Ice Festival is on the square.
Yeah.
So if you take a
There's an ice festival happening right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. Yeah, it's all
I'm
night,
definitely
too.
going to that.
Yeah, so if you pull out of our development, take a
Yeah.
left onto Route 3, you'll drive it straight about 3 miles. You come into the town of Medina, the square.
Yeah.
And
So it's Medina. I thought it was Medina.
no, it's
No,
okay.
no, you're
But
good, you're good.
Just find a spot to park, and you can walk around. There's like people's ice sculptures that are out there, and there's probably people.
Like chainsaw sculpture.
There's probably people chainsawing some stuff tonight. Yeah,
Oh
they have
my
like
God.
events throughout the
My
night.
girl is going to be so excited.
Oh,
when
dude,
we
it's a
leave
blast,
here.
man.
Oh
Definitely.
my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So,
Ice is nice.
Yeah.
ice is nice. All right, guys. Thanks again.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Yeah,
Later.
night.
Life and love, fitness and fight on.